What's up, everybody? It's your boy TGK back with another reaction video. What, bravo? We back to doing reaction videos. Yes. You know, I know it's a Monday. I know we're trying to get along through this day. I got you, man. I got you. Just sit back, sit tight. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's knock this video out. Again, this video is by Sporting Logically, titled, "This is Why You Don't Trade Luka Doncic." Enough for the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. All right, again. This is Why You Don't Trade Luka Doncic by Sporting Logically. Let's check it out.
The Luka Lakers have figured it out. After a slow start, he finally looks like himself, and the Lakers look like a problem for the Western Conference, not only this year, but moving forward. It was a fantastic win against the Nuggets, a Nuggets team that has really dominated the Lakers over the last couple of seasons, and we finally got to see, quite frankly, the Luka that the Lakers traded for. Because early on in his Lakers tenure, he was being very timid. He wasn't being the Mavs version of Luka. He wasn't being the version of Luka that the Lakers traded away Anthony Davis first-round picks and the absolutely on fire Max Christie for. He was just being a guy that was kind of standing on the perimeter, occasionally taking a possession here, a possession there, missing a bunch of jump shots, turning the ball over a ton, and as we saw in Dallas, not really trying to defend that much. And it was honestly really uncomfortable. The first handful of games with Luka there, they were losing to teams like the Hornets that they absolutely shouldn't be losing to. But then after this Nuggets game, Redick said what needed to be said. Luka Doncic is the number one, the primary offensive option for the Lakers, even on a team with Austin Reeves, who's been playing really well, even on a team with LeBron, who's 40 and still be able to drop 40 points on any given night. Luka's the best offensive option that they have, and everybody else is going to fall in line behind that. He's the primary guy, and in order to get the most out of Luka, in order to get the version of Luka that they need, that they want, that they traded for, that has to be the hierarchy. And I think that's something.
I totally agree. And I think Redick, he sees that. He sees that. He's a smart coach, man. He sees that. And it's good. Bro, I'm actually more impressed that Luka did this in game 4 with the Lakers. Like, you got to understand how much pressure and putting everything into context, bro. This trade happened, 22 days ago? When you were with a team for 7 years, everything that's been curated has been curated for you. And now you have to go into another team with one of the greatest of all time and acclimate to that environment, to that team, while also process all of the emotions of being just kicked out of the door. That's a lot for a person. We're not talking about a player. We're talking about a person, first and foremost. And I always know that when it comes to like a primetime game or any primetime situation, kind of like when you think of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, Luka looks for those scenarios. Luka thrives in that environment. And I think with Luka being on the road against Denver, he probably felt the most normal because that is the most normal thing where you're on the road, you're not at home. And I think that was the closest thing to normal, right? Ever since he's been traded. Because being at a home games, that's not something he's used to. Being on the road going against the road team at their place is completely different. And you were able to see that. And I think as he starts to get better, as he gets more acclimated, as the chemistry develops more and more, you're going to see all the benefits that Luka Doncic brings to a team. What you saw Saturday was just the itty-bitty glimpse. Just the itty-bitty glimpse, and I hate my background doing that.
I think we are going to see this Lakers organization continue to move towards really making sure that everything that they do over the next couple of years is about what Luka wants them to do. I think that was clear with the Mark Williams trade. That archetype of player, that lob threat, defensive rim protector, pick and roll partner kind of guy that they didn't have on the roster other than Jackson Hayes, who's the only real 5 they have left. They didn't have that. That's what Luka wanted. They went out and were aggressive in doing it. And one, I think they thought Mark Williams was good and a good fit for them. And also, they want to make sure Luka knows just how committed they are to, one, being good, and two, building the team the way that he wants it to be built. And I think this game against the Nuggets, the offensive hierarchy, how that game went, is just another example of that. Now, for this season, the roster is still very weird for the Lakers. I find it hard to believe that they're going to be true top-tier championship contenders, even with as good as Luka and LeBron are and as good as the offense is going to be. If you're playing Jackson Hayes as your only 5 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes a game, and there's a lot of Dorian Finney-Smith and Jared Vanderbilt out there, like, depending on the matchup in the postseason, even against a team like Denver that, yes, they beat, it's just going to be difficult to sustain over a full series. The physicality of a playoff series, you're playing so much, so often, and your only real 5-man is Jackson Hayes, and he's playing 15 to 20 minutes. I just find
I get it. I understand that sentiment, but again, you're diminishing the Lakers and their potential because they don't have a great 5-man, right? You know what other players don't have? They don't have a generational point guard like Luka Doncic, nor do they have a Hall of Famer legend, probably one of the GOATs of all time, in LeBron James. That, like, you could go tick for tat with that, you know? Like, just because one team doesn't have the one thing that they're missing doesn't mean that they have no chance when other teams don't have anything like a Luka and LeBron on one team. You get what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. Like, you have to understand that there's certain players that step up in playoffs and do different things in the playoffs. And just because you don't have the one thing that other people think from a schematic perspective or analytic perspective or physicality perspective doesn't mean you're not going to be good in the playoffs. I just think it's kind of short-sighted. I understand the whole roster construction of it all, but sometimes centers get played off the court in this new NBA, bro. Let's be honest. And the way the Lakers can space you out like no other team can, to be honest, when they play 5-out basketball. And when you got Luka and LeBron on the court playing 5-out, that is so dangerous. Like, the fact that teams' number one defender is going to take on Luka and teams' second or third best defender is going to have to cover LeBron, barbecue chicken, bro. That's just going to be so hard to guard. So just because a center is what's missing on this team doesn't mean that the Lakers have no chance. You get what I'm saying? Hope I made that clear.
Kind of hard to believe that that's going to be able to hold up, not to mention some of their defensive issues, but offensively, they're going to be a problem. And there's going to be situations in games like against Denver where they're just able to overpower you offensively. And moving forward, it creates an interesting dynamic for the Lakers as well as they continue to build everything around Luka, because they have a couple of big decisions coming up this offseason and the following. LeBron has a player option this offseason. He has to first decide if he wants to continue to play. It seems like people are assuming LeBron is going to play at least one more season, especially now. It seems like he's been kind of reinvigorated by the Luka trade in general. He's either going to pick up the player option, play one more season, or he's going to decline it, sign another 1-and-1, and continue to kick that can down the road. To me, honestly, it kind of seems like he's going to continue to play maybe for even longer than one more season. It really feels like the Luka trade has reinvigorated him. If he feels like he has a legit chance to win ring 5, maybe 6, that is going to be a big motivator for him. So that's this offseason. Then you go into the 2026 offseason, and that's the big pivot point for the future of the Lakers. Luka has a player option in the summer of 2026, and if they don't sign him to an extension prior to that, that's going to be super nerve-wracking. He's going to turn down the option. He's going to look at some free agency options. You better believe there are teams right now around the league that are lining up to have cap space in 2026, because not a lot of teams have cap space in 2025. I think it's the Nets and a couple of other teams. Most teams are probably going to be looking at that 2026 free agency class as their opportunity to go out and get someone like Luka. There's a couple of other guys that are out there as well, and the Lakers are going to have to do everything they can to convince him that the Lakers are the place that he wants to be. And if they're able to do that, then the possibilities really open up for the Lakers, because they're going to have a ton of cap space in 2026. Austin Reeves is going to need a new deal, as is LeBron, depending on what his situation is. But let's just say that LeBron plays one more season, he retires. He's not on the roster in 2026. You've got Austin Reeves on a big deal. You've got Luka on a big deal. A couple of other role players you still need to re-sign. But for the most part, they're going to have probably one max cap space slot if they want to create their cap space that way and save their cap space that 2026 offseason. And they're going to have some of these picks back. Some picks unlock more into the future as we get more years.
I'm like, again, I'm not criticizing the video, but the video was titled, "This is why you don't trade Luka." Like, we're talking about contracts? We're talking about contracts right now? I want to know why this is why you don't trade Luka. You know what I'm saying?
The future, but also they get those Mark Williams picks back. And honestly, I've kind of signed on to this conspiracy that the Lakers maybe realized they overpaid a bit for Mark Williams with the package that they sent out, and then maybe that's why the trade got rescinded. There definitely was some injury stuff that they were concerned about long term, but he was healthy enough to play for the Lakers in the moment. Maybe that'll set a new precedent where the league will say that's what the new rules are, is like, if the guy can play, you have to accept the physical, because the Lakers turned down the physical presumably on long-term concerns, not his ability.
Man, why are we talking Mark Williams right now? Why are we talking Mark Williams right now, you know?
To play the following week against Utah. And I'm kind of subscribing to the conspiracy that the Lakers got word that they, one, overpaid, two, could get someone maybe better than Mark Williams with the amount of assets they traded away for him. And that's potentially why the trade got rescinded. But now they get those picks back. They get the Connect asset back as well. And now they're looking at a ton of options in 2026 and beyond. I think we're going to continue to see the organization allocate more and more of their resources, more and more of their attention, potentially all of it, to Luka. And this is going to become his organization. Like LeBron has been running things for years in LA, but now their priorities have shifted. Like they have a 25, 26-year-old guy that could be the future of their franchise, could lead them to titles in the future. And the year-to-year circus of is LeBron going to play, is LeBron not going to play, is just not their priority anymore. They've shifted away from that anyway in terms of trading away future picks. Prior to the Luka trade, they were more conservative in terms of trading away future picks. Obviously, they did the Bronny thing and they did the JJ Redick thing, but from a roster perspective, they were moving away from this win now all the time thing that they've done, really every LeBron team ever has done since 2010. And I just think the future for the Lakers continues to be the most interesting part of the Luka trade, and then also potentially what they could do in the postseason this year.
Honestly, the future of the Lakers being the most interesting thing, I don't know if I agree with that. I think we know the future of the Lakers is going to be good because they have Luka. I think it is interesting, but I don't think it's the most interesting thing. I think right now, watching Luka and LeBron develop this, I think right now that is the most interesting thing. I think seeing the outcome, the fallout, the aftermath of this trade, that's the most interesting thing right now. The future, bro, that's the future. We're talking about right now. This is the most interesting thing in sports right now. The number one topic in sports. This is it right here. That's the most interesting thing. Not the future. We're not talking about 10 years from now with Luka. Like we're talking about right now, bro. Right now.
Dallas, on the other hand, this just continues to get worse because if I was a Mavs fan, I would be at least a little bit concerned about Kyrie Irving's free agency in 2025. It would have been fun to put Kyrie in the thumbnail with LeBron and Luka, but I decided not to. It's at least a small possibility they could figure out like a sign and trade thing for him this offseason. If he was a 2026 free agent, it would be different. It'd be much easier to just bring in Kyrie with that cap space slot they're going to have in 2026. But Kyrie has a player option for 2025, presuming he is going to decline it and sign a new deal with Dallas. And it's clear that he wants to play with AD, and that's one of the pairings they made. Nico Harrison made the deal in the first place. Kyrie and AD have wanted to play together for a while, and I presume that that's going to continue. They could even have a lot of success towards the end of the season, depending on how the AD situation works out for them. But we already know that the Mavs fans hate the deal. But the Kyrie thing is kind of the sneaky part of this, is that they're counting on him wanting to come back after being blindsided really by the Luka thing. Now his connection with AD and those guys wanting to play together, I'm sure it'll be fine. Maybe they're able to get Kevin Durant in the offseason. Like there's a bunch of possibilities for Dallas still, but that Kyrie player option free agency thing is just not something that people have really discussed a ton. And as it relates potentially to the Lakers, but certainly as it relates to the Mavs, that's going to be a big concern for them. If they have a not super successful postseason, they might not even make the playoffs potentially, depending on how things go. They could be in the play-in and then be out. The AD injury situation is a big problem. Like they are definitely on thin ice right now, and Kyrie is always someone that you could be concerned about possibly looking to go somewhere else, play alongside LeBron and Luka for the last couple of years of his career. That's just a small little piece of this that I feel like people have not talked about enough. It continues to be the most fascinating trade that we've had in the last decade plus in the NBA, and I can't wait to see how each of these teams continue to play throughout the rest of the year.
Okay. All right. That was that. That was a good video. I don't want to be mean. I just wish we got more of why you don't trade Luka Doncic. Like why you don't, right? Like why not? Oh, the future, the roster construction. Kyrie might leave. LeBron might leave. I don't know. I'm not trying to be too negative. It just I was sold on the thumbnail. Like why? Why you don't trade Luka? Like I could give you a lot of reasons why you don't trade Luka. Because you're gonna tank your sales. You're gonna tank the energy out of Dallas. You're going to destroy the essence of what the Dallas Mavericks and the fans built their connection on. Why you don't trade Luka Doncic is because you're going to lose out on potential MVPs with Luka. You're going to lose out on all of these endorsement deals that could feature Dallas and the Mavericks and push the Mavericks brand to another level and increase their value, increase their net worth as far as a sport team. You could win championships with Luka, right? You see that he's on prime time now. You're going to lose prime time slots because of it. Like I could give you a slew of things as to why you don't trade Luka Doncic. Unfortunately, we didn't get that in this video. But anyway, man, appreciate y'all tuning in. Let me know what y'all think about the video in the comments below. Let me know what you think in general. Let me know why you don't trade Luka Doncic as well in the comments. Let's have our little conversation in the comments. Anyway, it's been your boy TGK. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central Time, I will be live doing a 1-hour pregame show and then a full watch along for the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers with Luka Doncic. First game against his old team. Crazy, 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 man. Links are in the description below. It's been your boy TGK. Catch y'all on the next one. We out.